Welcome back to Did You Know? Today I'm going to talk about our damp basements. The last video I talked about was specifically about how moist it can get in a basement. But there's another issue that comes along with that. Most basements in most areas have a poor grade around them. Now that doesn't seem to be a big deal, except that the ground closest to your concrete or wood foundation is soaking wet all the time. And that will absorb into the concrete and through the concrete and make a basement damp. Once the basement's damp, it's hard to dry. So if the moisture can't get to the basement, many things happen. If you have a positive grade, and I have about a 6 or 8 foot positive grade away from my house. During the floods, the water didn't get within 10 feet of my basement. And I didn't have any water in it, and I'm in the ground 7 feet. The important thing, though, is that when the ground's always wet around your basement, or if the grade isn't significant enough, and trust me, code does not require it to be very much of a grade, and I can tell you it's not enough. The grade needs to be well enough that the water will actually run away quickly. So when the grade is not there and the water runs up to the house, there's a few other things that happen. One is the ground gets saturated and breaks the basement. It'll crack the foundation, it'll push the cinder blocks in, it'll overload a wood basement, because basements are not designed to carry that kind of load. And over a long period of time, it can cause a lot of damage to your basement. Now, some people will tell you that you need to change the weeping tile. That'll fix that problem. No, it won't. Because that means the water has to get to it, which has to run down the side of the building, and by then it's already done the structural damage. We need to keep the foundation and the soil that's up against it as dry as possible. That takes the excess pressure off of the foundation. I've seen foundations break right in half. That's how I discovered my mold, front of my house. The entire front wall of my house split right at a rebar. And there was a gap there about an inch and a half wide. When I changed my grade all the way around my house, we had no more water in our basement. And I took the pressure off those breaks. That's 15 years ago. And that crack hasn't moved. Because we've actually taken the pressure off it, and now the concrete foundation can support itself. Cinder block's even worse. Cinder block's porous. It'll actually let the water run right into the cinder block. And wood basements, if they're done properly, they're probably one of the safest. But they also create the proper grade and use the proper materials to create that grade. You can't grade with sand. You can't grade with rocks. You can landscape with that stuff, but you can't grade. Saskatchewan has yellow clay. It's the greatest material in the world for creating a grade that will stay. Now you have to dig down around your foundation a little bit till you get to clay, and then add the clay on top. If you add clay on top of topsoil, the topsoil will eventually pack some more and your grade will be gone again. I created my grade 15 years ago and have not had to repair it since. In the floods of 09 and 11, in my area, houses flooded horribly. I mentioned I was in the ground 7 feet. I am. My neighbors are in the ground 3 feet. They live in bi-levels. They had 2 feet of water in their basements. I never had any. Positive grade is very positive for your house. And if you don't keep your foundation strong, the rest of it is going to fail as well. Thanks for watching. More videos to come. If you have questions, call me at that number, 306-861-5204. Thanks, guys. Bye now.